Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Well, the Criterion Collection surprised me this month. Usually they make their announcements of their upcoming titles on the 15th or thereabouts, and they did this time, but they announced it a couple days early. They announced their May 2021 titles on this past Friday, yesterday, February the 12th. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited whenever Criterion announces their upcoming titles. So on Friday, February the 12th, the Criterion Collection announced that they're going to be releasing on Blu-ray 5 new titles. So let's jump right into it. So I have to say, I really like the eclectic mix of these films that Criterion has announced for May of 2021. It represents really the diverse array of films that the Criterion Collection regularly puts out. They got 5 films that they're coming out with in the month of May. There's 3 from the United States, 1 from Morocco, and 1 from Taiwan, with directors from all over the world. All right, so the first title that the Criterion Collection is releasing for May of 2021 is coming out on Tuesday, May the 4th, and it's called Trances. This is a title that was featured in a recent World Cinema project from Martin Scorsese box set. This is now a single feature release. So Trances is a 1981 documentary directed by Ahmed Maanouni, and it features the band Nas El Gawani. And this director follows this band through different areas of Morocco, including Casablanca. And it's just a documentary about this very popular band from that time. So I'll read a little bit from the Criterion site. It says that the groundbreaking Moroccan band Nas El Gawani is the dynamic subject of this captivating, one-of-a-kind documentary by Ahmed Maanouni, who filmed the 4 musicians during a series of electrifying live performances in Tunisia, Morocco, and France. And it talks about Trances as pure cinematic poetry. So this is interesting. I love musical documentaries. This is one that I look at that definitely is interesting. I don't think this is one that I'm gonna pick up immediately when it comes out in May. This might be something that I wait for in an upcoming July or November sale, but I'm very pleased to see this one being released. This title is also available on the Criterion channel, so check it out there. So that's Trances. It's the first title coming out from Criterion in May of 2021 from director Ahmed Maanouni. All right, so on May the 11th, Criterion is releasing 2 titles that are 2 films that I'm really looking forward to checking out when they do come out on Blu-ray. The first is Fast Times at Ridgemont High from 1982. This is really a pop culture phenomenon. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is a landmark of the early 1980s when it comes to teen, sex, coming of age comedies from the early 1980s. And it really launched the careers of several actors that we know today, such as Jennifer Jason Leigh, Phoebe Cates, Judge Reinhold, Forrest Whitaker, Anthony Edwards, Eric Stoltz, and Sean Penn, who played the stoner icon Jeff Spicoli. So this is definitely one that I'm looking forward to picking up when it comes out in May. So this features a new restored 4K digital transfer that Amy Heckerling supervised. So that's great to see. It's a 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack on the Blu-ray. So that's great. It's got an audio commentary on here, which is nice to see. They also include the television version of the film from the 80s, featuring deleted and alternate scenes. They've got a new conversation with Heckerling and Cameron Crowe, moderated by filmmaker Olivia Wilde. So some really nice special features on here that I think will be a really good showcase for this film. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Fast Times at Ridgemont High. It's been a long time since I've seen this film, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it when it comes out in May from Criterion. So the description on the site says, the wild world of adolescence has rarely been captured with as sharp an observational eye as in this refreshingly smart, frank spin on the teen comedy by director Amy Heckerling and screenwriter Cameron Crowe, for each of whom it kicked off a hugely successful film career. So this is based off of Cameron Crowe's experiences going undercover as a student at a Southern California high school. And it's just a classic from the early 1980s. I'm excited that Criterion is releasing this one. It's just part of the eclectic mix of films that Criterion releases. Films like this, along with films from Fellini and Francois Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard and Akira Kurosawa and different people. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So how's that for eclectic mix? So Fast Times at Ridgemont High is coming out on May the 11th, as well as another title that's very interesting called Merrily We Go to Hell from 1932. This is director Dorothy Arzner. So in 2020, the Criterion Collection released another title from this director, Dorothy Arzner, called Dance Girl Dance, starring Maureen O'Hara and Lucille Ball, and I think her first film role. And this is another film that Criterion is bringing out from this same director. Had a chance to read a little bit about Dorothy Arzner. She has a very interesting story, and I'm very excited that the Criterion Collection is including some titles from this director. So for most of her directing career in Hollywood, through the 1930s to the early 1940s, she was the only working female director in Hollywood. So she was a pioneer at the time. I believe she was the very first female director to do a sound feature film. So she was a pioneer in this field, and I'm very much looking forward to diving into her filmography. I do have a copy of Dance Girl Dance from 1940 that I picked up as part of the November Criterion Collection sale. It's part of my backlog. Haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to picking up this title, Merrily We Go to Hell from 1932. I'm probably gonna wait to pick it up in the July sale and sort of do a double feature and just sit down and watch both of these films together sometime in July. So Merrily We Go to Hell comes out on May the 11th along with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So I'm very much looking forward to it. And this is from director Dorothy Arzner. So Merrily We Go to Hell is a really interesting title that was very risque and really pushed the boundaries for its time. And I'll read a little bit about the summary here. It says, addiction, non-monogamy, and female sexual liberation. Decades before such ideas were widely discussed, Dorothy Arzner, the only woman to work as a director in 1930s Hollywood, brought them to the screen with striking frankness, sophistication, and wit, a mature treatment that stands out even in the pre-code era. So Frederick Mark and Sylvia Sidney turn in extraordinary performances as the couple whose relationship is pushed to the breaking point by his alcoholism and wandering eye, which leads them into an emotionally explosive experiment with an open marriage. So this is a film from 1932. Yeah, so these are some pretty heavy themes for a 1930s film. So I'm really looking forward to checking this out. From a special features standpoint, this also has a new 4K digital transfer. I love to see that. And it also has an uncompressed monaural soundtrack. Then it has a feature called Dorothy Arzner, Longing for Women, a 1983 documentary. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that documentary because I would imagine that that's gonna go into some of the history about Dorothy Arzner's work that I'm really interested in learning more about. So a nice video essays on here from film historian Kari Bokamp, and there's an essay by film scholar Judith Main in the package. So this looks like a really interesting title that I will look forward to picking up later this year. So Merrily We Go to Hell comes out on May the 11th, along with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Okay, so on May the 18th, the Criterion Collection is releasing a title from Taiwan from director Hsiao-hsien called Flowers of Shanghai. And this is from 1998. And this is from director Hsiao-hsien. And this is an interesting title that I'll read a little bit about. It is an intoxicating time-bending experience bathed in the golden glow of oil lamps and wreathed in an opium haze. This gorgeous period reverie by Hsiao-hsien traces the romantic intrigue, jealousies, and tensions swirling around four late 19th century Shanghai flower houses, where the courtesans live confined to a gilded cage, ensconced in opulent splendor, but forced to work to buy back their freedom. So this is an interesting film. It's from 1998. It's a period piece about 19th century Shanghai that is pretty interesting. I did have a chance to see the video clip on the Criterion website. It looks like a beautiful film from this director, Hsiao-hsien from Taiwan. And it's a film that I will probably check out later this year. I will probably save this for maybe the second sale this year in November. But this is definitely a title that I look forward to diving in at some point in the future. As far as the special features, it is a new 4K restored digital transfer supervised by the director. I always love to see these 4K transfers and restorations supervised by the director. That just that just makes me feel good. And the director of photography, Mark Lee Ping Bing. So that's great to see. You have a 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack on this Blu-ray. You have a new introduction by critic Tony Raines, who is featured on a lot of Criterion Collection releases. And you've also got a nice, interesting looking documentary on here called Beautified Realism, which is a new documentary by Daniel Rame and Eugene Soon on the making of the film. So like to see those documentaries that go deep into the making of films like this. So this is a film that is not at the top of my list of films that I want to see this year. Not a film I'm going to pick up when it first comes out, but it's definitely one that I will want to check out sometime later this year, probably the November sale, though I may consider pulling the trigger in July. We'll see. This is Flowers of Shanghai. It's coming out on May the 18th from the Criterion Collection and directed by Hsiao-hsien. All right, so this last title that Criterion is going to be releasing in May is coming out on May the 25th of 2021. This is a film from director Edward Goulding from 1947, and it's a sort of a noir type film. It's a noir carnival film from 1947 called Nightmare Alley. This is a pretty interesting looking title that is one of those noir type films. So it's one of those dark and atmospheric type films. And as I read on the website, it says, darkness lurks behind the bright lights of a traveling carnival in one of the most haunting and perverse film noirs of the 1940s. Adapted from the scandalous bestseller by William Lindsay Gresham, Nightmare Alley gave Tyrone Power a chance to subvert his matinee idol image with a ruthless performance as Stan Carlisle, a small-time carny whose unctuous charm propels him to fame as a charlatan spiritualist, but whose unchecked ambition leads him down a path of moral degradation and self-destruction. So this looks like a really interesting film. I did have a chance to see this clip as well. I watched all the clips for all these films on the Criterion site. So I'm very hopeful that based on what I saw on my mobile device, I'm hoping that this is going to be a very nice looking picture. This is a new 4K digital restoration with an uncompressed mono soundtrack on the Blu-ray. This also has an audio commentary on here. I love having audio commentaries on the disc, so that's great to see. You've got an interview with critic Imogen Sarah Smith. She does a lot of features for Criterion. You also have an interview with performer and historian Todd Robbins on here. Interesting interview with actor Colleen Gray. And you've got an audio excerpt of a 1971 interview with Henry King in which the filmmaker discusses actor Tyrone Power. So that's very interesting. Of course, you have an essay in here by film critic and screenwriter Kim Morgan. So this is a film that I will probably check out later this year. This is probably more of a late this year, November Criterion Collection sale, Barnes & Noble, Amazon type thing. Not at the top of the list for me of films that I want to check out this year, but it's definitely one I do want to check out probably later this year. I do like the cover on this. If you check this out on the Criterion site, the cover on this is really, really cool. The cover on this is really cool. I really like that cover. I'm not sure who did the artwork for this one, but this is a really nice looking cover for this movie. So Nightmare Alley is coming out from the Criterion Collection on May the 25th of 2021 from director Edmund Goulding from 1947. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 5 titles the Criterion Collection is releasing for May of 2021. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about these films? Which of these films are you most excited about? Are you excited about or interested in any of these films? Let me know in the comments below which films you're looking most forward to picking up later this year and what your thoughts are on these films if you've seen any of them. Also, let me know in the comments below what titles that you're looking forward to picking up. Also, let me know in the comments below what titles you are most looking forward to seeing from the Criterion Collection later this year. Well, that's all I have for this one. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.